Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming back on the show here, Strange Reality with Dave Emmons. And I have a special guest tonight also. Every night, or it's a special guest, but I'm into topics now that's going to help you manifest, chill out a little bit. If you be willing, be chilling. Okay, that's what I got to say. I've had sometimes you have trolls and you have negative people, but I would just wish that they would chill out. I try to be as smooth as I can with them, and so it happens when you get into this business and you have people who not necessarily saying that you're a liar, or that this and that. I don't know what they really are mad about. They're mad about the world, maybe, because we have plenty of reason to be mad about the world and the way things are going. And I just wanted to play something as a intro. Something happening here. What it is, I'm exactly clear. That's enough of that. I'm a drummer. I'm not a singer. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is Buffalo Springfield had it right back in the 60s when they said there's something happening here. We have governments and we have politicians that are each at each other's throats, and you got people like I just said, trolls and people that are negative, and they get all upset about certain things, and it's not good, to have that much stress out there. We have to live with it. We have to try to deal with it and just try to chill out. So I have had, I think this is my third Aussie in the past month. A lady from Australia, and she's the third one in a month actually. And they all talk about the same thing, and this is why I have them on the show, is because we're going to be talking about manifestation and shifting realities through following your inner guidance, and try to chill out. My guest tonight is Andrea Fung, is a former lawyer turned transformational coach and energy healer for corporate professionals and soulful entrepreneurs based in Australia and Malaysia. With 6 years of experience in the legal sector, she has intimate encounters with a wide spectrum of challenges faced by her high achieving professionals, and is now dedicated towards helping those ambitious business professionals achieve fulfillment and find purpose in their lives. You hear that? Purpose in your lives. As a certified NLP practitioner, and the and it's the theta healer, Andrea adopts a holistic approach in empowering her clients to unearth the wellspring of happiness within themselves. What a great topic to talk about tonight, with everything that's going on and some of the people that I run into. But most of you people out there are very nice. And, I see all these on Facebook. I see the people looking for prayers, and they have sick loved ones. And I've been there. We've all been there. And you have to be a little empathic. And my guest tonight will be talking about that a little bit. And it's Andrea Fung, and Andrea, welcome to the show. Third Aussie of the month. That's okay. Tell us a little
Thank you
bit
for
about
having me,
yourself.
Dave.
Yeah, tell us a little bit what's going on with you now, and what's going to happen to you, what you're going to be doing, and that type of thing as openers.
Well, at the moment, I'm currently here in Malaysia with my family. And so I decided to come here actually to attend two specific events. One was going to be a charity dinner, and another one was a wedding that eventually ended up being postponed. So I'm here just, spending a bit of time building up my business again, which I've restarted again recently. And I'll be here for maybe about another week. I head to Egypt
Oh,
next
oh,
Tuesday, and
oh,
I'll be there for 2 weeks. I have been guided. I've been seeing. I've been, been told, so to speak, in my meditations and by my guides that you should go to Egypt for and specifically be there on the 8th of August. And
right.
I was kind of thinking, I don't know how I'm gonna get there, how I'm gonna get the money to go there.
Well,
But I kind of thought, you know what?
you're gonna
I'm
manifest it.
gonna hold the vision.
Isha,
Yes, yes, yes,
Isha Patel goes to Egypt. She's my guest here about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and
yes.
I've had another guest also that goes to Egypt, and I wish I could go to Egypt. Is it scary over
Then
there?
come to Egypt.
Is there turmoil over there? Is it scary over there? Is it safe?
I haven't been there, but to my understanding, based on what I get, the wars and the conflicts is kind of like more at the borders, the areas that I'm going to, which is, the pyramids, Cairo, Alexandria,
Yeah.
the coastal towns around the Red Sea. They're quite sheltered,
Right.
to my understanding.
They're also, Andrea, they're also west. I guess they're west of everything, and everything
Hmm.
that's east is the Egyptian
Yes.
border and Palestine, and then you got
Mm.
Israel that's having that conflict now. And I wish that would get over with too. And that's what
Yes.
everybody's nerves up. They say, "Wow,
Mm.
this world's crazy. We're going through political." Can you believe? I don't know if you've heard what's going on here in the U.S. We had an attempted assassination of
At Trump.
Trump, and then we got Joe Biden just quitting, and
But
because
Harris stepping in.
and Harris is stepping in, and this whole thing is crazy, and they're battling each other about the legalities of all this. You're a lawyer, so I don't know if you're a constitutional lawyer, but this is getting into all of the legal factors, what's going on. I think it's crazy. I think somebody needs to get in there and do something. We need to stop all this type of thing. We have wild, immigration going on, illegal immigration, and it's causing a problem, a burden to our country. We're a good country. I mean, everybody out there, don't think that I'm stingy or tight. I'm an empathic person who cares about what's happened to people, but we can't take on all this tremendous burden.
Mm.
Our
It has to be a shared burden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're taxed to the max, and now we have to take care of others. And I'm a veteran, combat veteran, and I know that there's a lot of veterans out there that need help, and they're living in the street. So there we're bringing in
Yes.
more people they're having a hard time, living in, and it's going on in Europe. I don't know about Malaysia, Australia. I think there's been a little bit of, I guess, an imbalance of political strife there too, Andrea. I don't know, but
Not so much Australia, but Malaysia, yeah, we have a very, very corrupt government. I mean, poverty is right outside our doorstep. So it's a sad state of affairs when you see kids that are 4 or 5 years old coming up to you in the streets, asking you to buy a bag of crisp or a bag of chips for 50 cents.
yeah,
When you're just walking past, it's
yeah.
it's 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 difficult. Yeah,
Well, it
it's
happens
a
in
bit difficult.
Mexico too. You go in across the Mexican border. I've been down there back in the 70s and 80s. You go across the
Hmm.
border, you got all kinds of little kids coming up, pull them on your pants and say,
Yeah,
Mister, you got a nickel, you got a dime, and
yeah.
you hand out all your change by the time you get to the bridge and you don't have any more change, and all these kids are coming up to you. So I know how
Mm,
that is, and it seems like that's what it is. It's like now. I mean, except it's in a different form. It's people coming across the border and asking for asylum. So,
yeah.
Andrea Fung,
Yes.
here's what we're going to be talking about: manifesting and shifting realities through following our inner guidance. So, could you
Mhm.
tell us what that means? Just that opening line, Andrea.
Well, I believe, well, it's not I believe, I know that our realities are very much shaped by our perception of the world that we live in. Our perceptions are based on, the mindset, the values, the conventions and traditions that have been imposed on us from birth, based depending on the family that we live in, right? We have not been taught to have an inner compass, or we have not been taught to understand that we have a natural intelligence, let alone how to follow it. The way how, we eat food and our body just breaks it down and forms a body. The
Yeah.
way we breathe just naturally
Mhm.
is just that same kind of natural intelligence. We have an inner knowing. We could call it intuition if you want to call it. And because we're not taught that, we're not taught how to listen to that, let alone that it exists. And a result of that, we feel very unsafe and uncertain when following our natural intelligence, as opposed to our mind that is always projecting and predicting what is the best way forward.
Mhm.
Because all of that, to not follow our mind would feel really counterintuitive. And many times when we follow our natural intelligence, it just doesn't seem to make sense to our minds. And if we were to tune in to our inner guidance, if we were to tune into what brings us joy, like true joy, to someone, true joy, for me, true joy is going to the islands and just meditating there and going being in the water. To someone else, true joy could look like painting. To someone else, true joy could look like balancing accounting ledgers. True
Yeah.
joy looks different to everybody. But when we allow ourselves to follow that joy, that is when we are in full alignment and in pure embodiment of our soul, of our essence. And when we are in that full embodiment, in that expression of our soul and our essence, our reality, our external reality will reflect that to us, because the external reality is just a mirror and it's just a reflection of our internal world. So
Right.
that's what I mean by shifting realities
Hmm.
by following our inner guidance.
And the more negative you have in your life, the less confidence you have, and the less, I guess, get up and go about you just slows down, because you put so much negative in your thoughts that you just don't want to progress. You don't want to get out there and get around. Oh, by the way, the barber messed up. He shaved my head down the middle. I told him, I said, no, I don't want to shave the head. So no, I'm actually balding, and I usually wear a cap, but I just want to blame the barber for that, cutting my hair right down. You so okay. Here's one of the points you talked about, Andrea. Our realities are shaped by our perception of the world we live in, that you were talking about.
Yes.
Our perceptions are based on the mindset, values, conventions, and traditions imposed on us from birth.
Hmm.
Now, you're saying that if we are born in a poor family and we struggle through life, and maybe we have bad parents or something, uh, does that have an effect on how we end up, Andrea?
It would have an effect on the journey, not necessarily how we end up. As we all know, there are multiple ways to get to the same destination. So in this 3D reality that we live in, we need to have money, right? Money is the thing that that helps us buy food, that helps us survive, puts a roof over our heads. If we grew up in a situation where money is very scarce, where it's very hard to get job opportunities, where there's a lot of struggle required,
Mhm.
and if that is how we actually feel, and that is what we see, and that is what we actually believe, then we could be earning, say, for example, $200,000 a year, and we will still feel that it is not enough. We will still feel like, oh, wait, we need to get more. And not only that, in the process of getting that $200,000 or leveling up to $500,000 or a million or whatever, we are going to feel that we have to give everything up, give up our families, give up our mental well-being, our general overall well-being to actually get there. Whereas there might be a different way to get there. You might actually be able to do it via doing work that doesn't actually feel like work.
Yeah, it's
Or
something,
or,
doing
yeah,
something that you enjoy, something
yeah,
you were born to do, a gift. Uh,
yeah.
Also, I wanted to talk to you. I want to throw something in here real quick, that history is not what they're telling us. It's all wrong. We have it all wrong. We've been here before. They just found a wagon wheel that's something like 3 million years old in an old cavern, or it's all kind of fossilized with with rock and everything. And they said it's about 3 million
Mm.
years old. And they found a hammer in Texas the same way. And we have been recycled back and forth on this earth, on this planet, and we've been here before.
Yes.
And you feel like that deja vu feeling. And I know a lot of people feel
Yes.
that. Could you explain that to us, the deja vu in our past lives? 80% of our DNA is actually a kind of a memory, it's a memory card or whatever. And the other 20% is operational, what we're doing now. Could you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts on that is, and how that shapes our perception and what our thoughts might be, because we've been here before, and like a deja vu thing, Andrea?
Well, on one hand, we can say that we've been here before, and on another thing, we can say that we're still all being here. All the different parallel realities, it's not past, it's not present, it's happening simultaneously. This is what happens when time and space does not exist, right?
Right.
So that's like number one. And number two, I can only speak from the wisdom and learnings that I've acquired from my personal experience. I'll just share one of my personal experiences.
Okay.
Um, from the time I was young, I was born with asthma. And because I was born with asthma, there was a period of time where my family thought I was going to die. I was so thin and scraggly. They gave me, appetite tablets, and it got to a point where I grew. So I was like a chubby kid, and I was like a chubby kid for most of my life. And the past 2, 3 years, I've been trying to lose that weight. And then when I got into energy healing, when I dug deep into my subconscious beliefs, there was one time I hired a trance channel to help me, and she asked me, what would be the worst, what would happen, if you actually lost the weight and if you were in the full expression of your beauty and sensuality. And the first thing that came to mind was, I will be raped. And I had never been raped,
Hmm.
by the way.
Well,
Yeah. I,
so
I've never had I've never had a situation in this life where I was close to being raped at all.
mhm,
At that point in time. What happened afterwards, different story. But like at that point in time, I had no issue. And then when I worked with another energy healer later on down the line, and she gave me a similar conclusion that something happened in a past life. This was something that was taken from those lives, a separate past life brought forward, which basically indicated to me that if I was in full expression of beauty, sensuality, femininity, not only would I be raped, I would be hated by men, hated and also loved. Hated in a sense that they saw that beauty, that sensuality, that joy,
right,
and they wanted to keep it, but they can't keep it because you can't contain powerful femininity, powerful sensuality, that kind of magic.
right,
And so when I look at all of these experiences, I'm realizing more and more that what we see now, it's but one reality.
right.
And knowing that time is not linear, it is but one reality. And if we were to we can tune into all those different realities, a reality where we have wealth, a reality where we have the most perfect marriage or something like that. And we can tune into that reality immediately right now and give it enough time for it to actually happen.
Yeah.
Does
Now,
that answer your question?
yes, yes, it does. You're very thorough with it. Now you say the compass and the natural intelligence. Now they're saying, and a lot of scientists are saying this, that
Mhm.
intelligence comes from the outside in. And it's like Tesla and the rest of them. They said they got these messages and were told what to do and how to invent this and how to change this. And it comes from outside and comes in. It's like a universal language or intelligence that is given to certain people. And if you are a good antenna and you pick up the stuff, then you get
Yeah.
you get that. Now that's what about natural intelligence? Do is that different than what we get from the universe, Andrea?
That's actually a really good question. I would say that a lot of the intelligence that we can access, we can say, from the ether, so to speak,
Mhm.
I would say that it seems like it's on the outside, but really the way I access it I access it from my inner heart. So all of us, this plays into the interconnectedness of all of who we are, how we can connect with each other here in this physical 3D realm. And it seems like there is separation. But the higher you actually go, we are all actually interconnected in one way or another. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of how I see natural intelligence. It's the intelligence that all of us actually have access to. It's just a matter of how are we accessing that natural intelligence and how does it manifest into this 3D reality. So for me, when I go into meditation and I'm going deep into my heart space, the heart space being the portal to our soul and our soul being connected to all the other souls in this interconnected world, that is accessing intelligence, but it's also a natural intelligence in a way.
Mhm.
It's just that in this reality, it seems like it's separate, but it's actually not. And so once I access that intelligence, or if I'm just constantly being connected and tuned in, how it manifests to me, this one meat suit, so to speak, in this place we call Earth, it feels like an intuitive hit. It feels like a nudge. It feels like a gut feeling that only I get because I'm the one that's tuning in. It feels like there's that soft inner voice that tells me yes or no. And all of us have that.
Right. Yes.
All of us can get that. It's about how are we accessing it within this meat suit
Yeah.
to get to all of the things, to get to this ether or this space where which all of us can get to, which all of us can derive that information that is meant for us.
Okay, Andre, you said something here, and I'm reading some of this. You said our hearts are the inner guidance. Our hearts are the
Mm-hmm.
seat of the soul. Now, you just
Mm-hmm.
mentioned the heart a while ago. A lot of people think, scientists said that they found like brain neurons in the heart, and they
Mm-hmm.
said that the heart does a lot of the thinking for us. Is that true
Yes.
through your training and what you've been through? Can you elaborate on that?
I would say both the heart and the brain do a lot of the thinking. But I think because we are not taught to listen to the heart, so we listen to the mind. But
Are
yes, I believe that
you're
our
talking
heart,
about us
yes.
men, right? You're talking about us men. We think from the mind, women think from the heart. Is that
No,
right? No?
women do the same.
Really?
We're both men and women do the same. We are all brought up in the same world. If
Okay.
if women can think from the heart a bit more, it's just because we are naturally, well, we can say, nature versus nurture, but that's a different story. But like we're just naturally a bit more, let's say, more in tuned.
Mhm.
It's okay for us to feel more. It's okay for us to be more in our emotions. Whereas with men being brought up the way they are, you are taught to shut off your emotions. And if you're taught to shut off your emotions and not display or express any form of vulnerability, how is it possible for men to access the hearts? It's You're not taught to do that. You're not inclined to do that. And so the main muscle, if you could call it a muscle, the main organ that does the thinking would be the brain, but our hearts actually hold the most intelligence. I read an article somewhere that like the field of our hearts, I think it's like 5 or 6 times, it can span several kilometers, the energy of the heart. So if you are vibrating at a very high level, of your heart,
Mhm.
it affects your environment. And my mentor, Isha, actually told me, this thing will forever stick with me. She said that when you walk into the room, the vibration of the room is going to attune to the person with the highest vibration,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that is the vibration of the
Yes,
heart.
I sense that. Or the person
Yeah.
or a person who walks in and looks like a serial killer, people are going to be going to they're going to put their attention on that person actually too. But no, I see where that's all going. But I think that with our souls and
Mhm.
our hearts and I assure you, I pray to the Creator and the Source every day to forgive me for my impatience. So a lot of times I have impatience, and I have to be careful with that. And
Mhm.
also, you get upset, and that being upset is a negative thing, and it ruins you, and it
Does it?
ruin people around you, being upset and negative. Our soul communicates to us through feelings of joy and curiosity, which contributes to our overall vibration. That's what you're saying. You're saying our
Yes.
soul, if you have joy and if you have curiosity, your soul enjoys that part of our thinking, Andrea.
I think what I'm trying to say with that is that, have you ever gone to a point in your meditation where you have fully you where you feel that you have accessed your true essence? Have you ever gone to that point?
Well, that's why I keep
Yes.
praying about my impatience. I can't meditate except when I fall asleep at night. That's the only thing that puts me down. I went through hypnosis one time, and
Yeah.
I knocked the hypnotizer out. She was out, not me. Yeah,
What do you mean by you knocked her out? Like, what does that mean?
through I guess through like she was trying to put me out so she can get some information out of me, but
Yeah.
it reversed. She's the one who fell asleep at the desk, and I was fine at the couch. I said, "What's going on here?" Yeah, that really happened. That really happened, and so I have a hard time, and I ask everybody that's it's in your profession or what you're doing. I ask them,
Mhm.
how do you calm yourself down enough to meditate without me waiting until 3 o'clock in the morning? I'm in a deep sleep, and then I finally get these lucid dreams and everything. And so,
Ah.
how do you settle yourself down? I've asked this about other people, experts too, Andrea. How do you do it?
through prac- through a lot of practice. So because our minds are so busy, can we say that part of your impatience is because your mind is racing
Yes.
to a certain extent? It's always, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And when honestly, I only started meditating beginning of 2021. And you want to know how I started that? It was through an intuitive nudge. It was like following my curiosity. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and meditate. And also, the moment I had decided, a friend that I haven't spoken to in years, literally years, suddenly reached out to me saying, "Hey, Andrea, like, how you going?" And then we started having a conversation, and she's like, would you like to? I'm doing this 21-day Deepak Chopra meditation thing. Do you want to do this with me? And so I did that. I sat down for 21 days. I listened to Deepak Chopra's guided meditation. And that whole time, first, it was incredibly hard for me to sit still because my mind is going like, this is so stupid. What is he talking about? And then after that, I was like, actually, you know what? I want to learn more about this because it was about gratitude. That was the theme of that 21-day series. And then when that series ended, I thought, you know what? Let's look into more guided meditations. And what I realized was that when I was in meditation, as I kept on going, I realized I became more calm. And when I became more calm, my mind stopped racing. And then the more I did that, I realized, hang on, these are just thoughts. Who is the person having those thoughts? It's me. It's my soul,
Right.
And those thoughts are not me. I need to go pick up I need to go pick up the washing. I hate this boss. I can't believe my friend said this to me. What was he thinking about? All of those things that we identify with, they're just thoughts. They're literally thoughts, like a car driving from the end of the street to the other end of the street. That's it. And the more I got into it, the more I forced myself to sit down. Eventually, I stopped listening to guided meditations. I started sitting down and just listening to music and just allowing myself to be in that silence. Was it hard? Oh, incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. But then I realized that the more calm I was, the more I allowed. And when you allow yourself to just be, to
Right.
just be,
Yeah.
to be the to be the witness, to be the observer of your thoughts, to be the observer of the sensations of your skin, to just be and let that be okay.
Right. When
And that is what made the difference.
I was younger, the old timers used to say, "A young man, you better
Yeah.
settle yourself down. You better get control of yourself." And I said, "What am I doing?" I said, "Well, you're just worrying too much. You're nagging me too much." So that's part of
Mm,
what we do as we carry into adult life. But I don't do the nagging or anything like that. I'm not like that. But I do. I am a little impatient, and my wife reminds me that quite a
I'm
bit.
impatient too. I understand.
And so that's the thing. That are like the joy and the curiosity. I have curiosity and joy I keep seeking. I think nowadays the world has changed in the past 3.5 years, and that
It's
joy
scary.
is elusive to a lot of people. I go
Yes,
around to a lot
yes.
of people and they seem like they're going through the motions of life, and they're kind of like waiting in line for something, and I don't know what they're waiting for. Some actually are waiting, I guess, to leave here and go to heaven or to another dimension, whatever.
Mm,
uh here's what you say here: not many people in this world know how to access, embody their true joy, because it has always been based on external moving targets. And that those moving targets must be moving faster nowadays. Andrea, could you explain that, what's going on?
well, let's talk about beauty trends. There was a period of time back in the day of Kate Moss modeling career. You know who Kate Moss is, right?
Well, yeah, I
So
know.
back then it was, yeah, back then, being crazy skinny, malnourished, that's the look. And then, the trend started to shift. And next thing you know, Kim Kardashian rocks up with this Brazilian butt lift. And now everyone in the world, including young teenage girls, want to have a Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah, that's
But then now
J Lo. But yeah, J Lo. Yeah.
J Lo, but Kim Kardashian was the pioneer of the Brazilian butt lift. And then next thing you know, her sister, was it Kylie, was getting lip fillers, and everyone wanted lip fillers. And now Brazilian butt lifts, the surgery is so cheap now, to my understanding, because everyone wants it. And next thing you know, Kim Kardashian recently has just come out with a with a butt that is very much reduced in size
Oh,
because it's no longer special because everybody has it. And so now that's what I mean by everyone is chasing some form of happiness because everyone has these values of, I want to be outstanding, I want fame. I want money, I want beauty. But these are things that shift all the time in accordance to the evolution or potentially regression of the of the human population. If we are looking externally, we will never find happiness. Never.
No, yeah,
But until we tune into who we are, what we find joy, getting to know ourselves, what does our soul wants us to do, that is the real joy. That is the true unique joy. And that looks different for everybody. To you, it looks like creating this podcast talking about UFOs and all of these things. For me, it's about just going on an adventure, never really knowing what awaits me in at the next step, but I just know that this is where I want to go. And then I go find out what it is. And that makes me so happy. It could be anything.
yeah. Now, idolizing people, that's something I think you're talking about too, is people are looking for, outside, being, the curiosity on the outside. They want to follow these trends and idolizing like a singer or whatever. I've met singers in the past and I went up, shook their hand. I said, I like your music, great. But I didn't jump down or dye my hair. Well, I ain't gonna say I never dyed my hair. I can't. I'm not gonna say that. But no. But no. It's, it's just that you see all this happening all the time. But people are looking for an escape. Is that the word that we are
Yes.
looking for too? An escape from this doldrum world, Andrew.
Escape and belonging.
Yeah.
Escape and belonging and community. And I feel that in this doldrum world, so to speak, back in the day, where if you want to meet someone, you're actually going to have to go out, go to a pub,
Yeah.
or write letters. You actually have to go out. But now it seems like we have so much access to the world, but we are lonelier than ever because all communication is through text. For example, the first time we are actually having this conversation is actually now, right?
Right. Hmm.
But prior to that, it's through Facebook Messenger or
Right.
through email.
Mhm.
And I was just having this conversation with my mom yesterday, which is that as a millennial, I think I got it so good because I saw the transition from an internetless era to now a completely digital age and seeing, people born completely and raised in the digital age where all you know is text messages. You don't really know how to talk to people, not really. And based on what social media is feeding you, you get certain values of what is popular, what is good. This is what dating between men and women are meant to look like. And because everything is so accessible, all young kids are bombarded with a ton of things,
Right.
and they just don't know how to filter through what is good, what is right. But one thing for sure, we all want acceptance. We all want belonging. We all want community. We all want our tribe. And I can imagine lots of people from Gen Z or younger generation will probably think like, okay, in order to gain acceptance and recognition and community, I have to do this. And that probably means going viral on TikTok, getting that rhinoplasty, or, finding some way to earn a bunch of money through OnlyFans or something like that. But all of this is very superficial, isn't it?
Yeah, I met my one wife. I'm divorced, of course, and I met my one
Mm-hmm.
wife in a police lineup. No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
I
I was about to say, are you serious? We have to talk about that.
joking, just joking. But no, but my wife, I actually met her on the internet. I actually did.
Okay.
That my wife
Mm-hmm.
that I'm with now for 11 years,
Yes.
and I met her on the internet, and she's Asian. She's Filipina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
very nice, attractive lady. And she
Yes.
wasn't a younger gal when I married her, but she's I didn't want a young gal at the time. But no, it's I I'm just that internet thing helped me just the one time. But if you
Yes.
go on like on Truth Social and you go on Instagram and TikTok, and I go on there for my podcast and I go on there to sell my books. I got 4 books.
Yes.
I got another book that's coming out soon, and I just got the cover developed. I actually did the cover. Can you believe an old guy doing AI drawings and illustrations? I
I
developed
can
them.
totally believe that. I can totally believe that because technology is actually great. Social media, all of that, it's actually great, but there has to be a balance.
Yes. the balance. You can't
Yes,
live with it and you can't breathe with it. And a lot of times you can't trust the people you're talking to because a lot of these people have fake accounts.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
And then
everyone's out there to scam you, you know?
and then what they're doing is they're talking to you, and I say, well, if you want to talk about my podcast or my shows or whatever my books, I said fine, but I'm not going to sit here and chat with you all day. Some of these people must have billions of time. Either that or they're fake. They're most of them are fake. I'd say eight or 9 out of 10 are fake. They get these hacked, profiles, and then they go out and they just say or do anything to other people. But yeah, the times are different. The internet has changed things, and I hear a lot of people talking about the internet changing children. And actually, our politics here in this country, there's a battle of how to raise children and not to put them right. This is for entertainment purposes only. I have to say that on a platform, but they're telling they're giving children choices of what sex they want to be, and we
Oof,
a lot of people can't buy that, and there's a problem with that. And the way we're raising our kids in grade school and junior highs,
it's
there's a lot
difficult.
of parents are up in the air about that. What do you think about the internet? We talked about that. What do you think about the internet taking over these kids' minds, and also our politics taking over kids' minds? I know you probably have a thought about that, Andrea. What do you think about that?
Oh, the internet, I think I said before, it is a fantastic resource. It is a fantastic tool. In saying that there has to be a balance, and I feel that it is up to the parents, depending on how young a child is, obviously. It is up to the parents to instill in their children the right values and the understanding that not everything on the internet is gospel,
Right.
and to learn to be discerning about what is important and what the internet is useful for. If you want to do like a research on for some homework, if you want to learn about world history, even then it's even then, like, I mean, not everything on Wikipedia is true, let's be real. And just because something is on the internet, it doesn't mean that it's real at all. If anything, it's quite filtered. So take everything with a grain of salt. So in that sense, I feel like as for children, there isn't really, it's important for to be a good role model for your children, to manage the internet use and to be able to teach their children how to differentiate between fact and how to really understand that real life is not online, it's actually outside,
Right. Right.
right?
Yes.
So that's when it comes to internet and children. When it comes to politics, oof, I feel like that's going to be a hard one. I guess it depends on well, nowadays, like, politicians are utilizing social media and the internet to access children.
Yeah.
And children are very, I guess it depends on how old are we talking about when it comes to children. Are we talking about like teenagers?
Talking about grade schoolers, they're raising them up from 4 or 5, 6 years old and teaching them, the different ways of life. Like if a child comes in and says, "Now this is for information only for entertainment," uh, they come in and they tell the teacher they're 6 years old and they're a boy, and the boy says, "I'd like to be a girl." Well, right away, they take them to the principal, and then the principal goes, and they talk to the parents. They said, well, your child wants to be a girl. He's a boy. And so there's a lot of problem with that right now. That
Yes.
what you're doing is you're planting a seed in this child's mind, whoever's talking to him, the teacher or whoever in the school staff,
Grooming in a way.
grooming. And it's how how do you how do you overcome that? I think our parents here in the U.S. they have overcome it. They're going to school meetings and they're saying, no, we don't want this. We're pulling our child out. We want to be able to raise our child, in the way that we want to raise them. I was raised with cardboard boxes as a toy, and also played in the dirt and in the woods,
Yes.
barefooted. And
You had it so good, Dave. You had it so good.
yeah, I was connected to the earth with bare feet, and that took away all the
Yes.
negativity. Yeah. Now the uh, the belief systems and the large majority of the world for finding happiness is based on looking at what other people are doing rather than looking within. We just covered that. I just want to repeat what we just covered. But now, Andrea, we're by digging deeper into what unconscious beliefs we have, all of which also have their own vibration. We get a shift, we get to shift our perspective on life and therefore our reality. Now, changing one's vibration, can a child at an early age, I've seen kids play piano like masters, 4 or 5 years old, play
Prodigies.
guitars like Van Halen. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm a drummer and I've been, these little this little 4 year old could kick my butt, and I said, gee whiz, they're great. But there's some genius being born through all this too. Also, 12-year-old can fix my TV better than I can on the remote. So that's another thing too. They're smarter
Yes.
computers and things of that nature. But how do we shift our perspective and therefore our reality? And is it changing our vibrations, Andrea?
Well, it's part of it. So at the moment, at any given point, we are always vibrating a particular frequency. So I can make a comparison. 3 years ago, 3 years ago, as let's say 4 years ago, 2020, I was working as a lawyer. I was burnt out. I had no idea. I hated my work. I couldn't see my friends because it was, the pandemic. I was vibrating from a place of shame and from a place of fear. Shame and fear because I was afraid of uncertainty. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of what's going to happen if I don't know what am I going to do next. What would other people say? I was afraid of judgment. And if I were to move forward and I failed, there would be so much shame there. And so I was vibrating at a different frequency. But
Mhm.
then when I started to do things like shadow work, for example, and when I was meditating, I started becoming aware of what my thoughts were telling me, the thoughts that we naturally identify with, because not many people realize that that our thoughts are just our thoughts and that we are actually the observer of our thoughts. Lots of people, a large majority of the world, they identify with those thoughts. If the thoughts say, you're too fat,
Mhm.
or you're not going to make it,
Right.
this is too hard,
Mhm.
then you're just not going to make it, and you are going to be fat. Even if you're not actually fat, you are going to view yourself as fat. And if you feel that this particular new venture you want to do, or if you want to pivot to start a new business, for example, which is what I did, if I felt that I was going to fail, then I probably wouldn't even start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas then if I started to shift and do the shadow work and embrace all of these negative thoughts, number one, to see that these thoughts are just thoughts, and number two, to embrace myself with a lot and to view myself with a lot of compassion, which is that I am a human I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and that this is part of the experience. And yes, I'm scared, and
Yeah.
what's wrong with that? Can that be okay?
Mhm.
And then a lot of times when I've brought awareness to the things that I'm afraid of, to the fact, to my humanity, so to speak, I actually felt a lot better. And when I allowed everything to be okay, I allowed my vibration to raise and be like, okay, you know what? I'm scared. That is true. But I really want to give this a go. And if I fail, can that be okay?
Yeah.
And if I say it's okay, then it's okay.
Yeah.
And then I give that a go. And when I give that a go, that high, it naturally raises our vibration because it means that I have overcome one level of fear. And it's multiple levels. It's just, healing and growing and expanding. It's a spiral. You feel like you cleared one layer and then you think that you're never going to revisit again. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You're going to come back to it again at a
Right.
later date. You can
Right.
edit that out.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's fine. I say that every once in a while. It's like, hey, but I grew up with 10 brothers and sisters, and we were poor.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was raised to the point where I didn't think I was going to go anywhere in my life. And my dad kept telling me, well, go to work, like in a factory like him, a blue collar worker. I didn't want to do it, but I did it for a while. And then I went to night school and I built my way up and
Mm.
did other things. I got involved in some radio, not much, but I went to a broadcasting school and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
I kept pushing myself to be better, jettisoning myself from the life that I was used to. And
Yes.
some of my brothers, and they're not that progressive, and they didn't push hard enough. And I think that's the lack of confidence as you get when you're raised in that manner and you're poor. But
Mm.
you have to. We were all musicians, all seven. Had seven brothers who played music, and
Wow.
played for 42 years. Yes, and we played
Wow.
for big crowds. And I was the drummer and guitar player. I was a backup singer, so that's why I wasn't singing very good when we opened the show. People are going to laugh. Say, and the people who know me said, "Dave, you're never a lead singer. You know, you're just a drummer." No, I'm not just a drummer. I play guitar. I got the guitars laying around, but no, but that helped me. Music helped me.
Yes.
And you mentioned music a while
Yes.
ago. I listened to a song. I listened to it several times, and it's "You Only Live Twice." That James Bond theme song back in the 67, 68, and they still play it. They had to have a remix of it, and it's a beautiful song. And I listen to that every once in a while. I like Canadian Sunset and those types of
Yeah.
beautiful songs. I love love the sounds and the variations of frequencies.
Yes.
And you were talking about frequencies, raising your frequencies.
Yes.
I had a gal, she had a high frequency, and I can tell because she has a sense of humor, and she's just like you. She has a sense of humor, and she's bubbly, and uh, so Heidi Pop is their name, and she was real bubbly and
Mm.
just like you. And you mentioned something about humor. You mentioned something about when somebody walks into a room. What I see when somebody walks in a room, if they have a smile, they have a sense of humor, and they laugh. The person that's laughing in the room is usually the person that everybody looks at and they think, "Wow, that's neat. She's having a good
Yeah.
time." Yeah. So
It's possible to be
yeah,
that happy. How did we get that?
yeah, yeah. What are you drinking or what are you taking? Now
Yeah.
is that how you see it, Andrea? The person that is happy and jolly, that you can't be that way all the time, can you, Andrea?
No, because I mean, like you can be happy on the inside. So, for example, since I accessed my own, core frequency in the second half of last year, I have felt a huge change in my vibration. But it's not to say that my human self does not feel sad, doesn't go through, moments of, anxiety or anything. But all of it, it's very surface level. It's very human, because it's normal to feel scared and it's normal to feel anxious, leading up to I don't know, a podcast interview or leading up to meeting someone new or something like that, or going to a new event by yourself, for example. It's normal, but it doesn't mean that your overall vibration is going to be affected. And so when I see someone, for me, when I say that that the energy of the room is going to attune to the person with the highest frequency, it doesn't even necessarily mean that she has to have a smile or that she's laughing so hard. All of that is going to be apparent after all. But I think by now, I'm sure we both know that a lot of things can be sensed and picked up on without all the things that can be picked up on without words from the moment you meet them, before we even say hi.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think you've had that experience, right? Where you meet someone and no one says anything, but you can just tell something is great, or something is off, or maybe even if this person is not smiling, you might be like, oh, something's kind of interesting, kind of light about her. You can't really put a finger on what it is,
Yeah.
but you just know that I wanna connect with this person.
Yeah.
And then you go connect, and then that's when the smiling happens, the laughing and the humor, and you're like, this is so
Mm.
good.
Yeah, I used to do a little bit of stand up, and so I got that off my chest a long time ago.
Mm.
But as complex humans, you say here, we also store stagnant energy and trauma. I was just asking you about that. Can we be happy all the time within our bodies, and following our joy shines a light on the trauma that is fueling the narrative that is not serving us. So we can then choose to release it or stay the same. That's what I was thinking, that joy and laughter can release a lot of stress and tension. Experts and
Yes,
doctors say that. Laughter
yes,
is healing.
the best medicine.
Best medicine. Is that how you think?
Yes,
Could you explain
I
it?
do.
Yeah. What is
I
that?
feel so for me, because I think I mentioned earlier on before, I had said that joy, love, it's our natural state.
Mhm.
And when you think of joy and love, you think also abundance.
Oh,
And so I could be having the absolute worst day ever. Not necessarily that even that my vibration is shifted, because some days you just some days where things don't go your way,
mhm.
or there's just some terrible things happened and you can't expect it, and you go through some level of grief or something like that, as an example. But then sometimes all it takes is just talking to a stranger. It could be a stranger or a friend, and they tell you a joke and then you're laughing. You're laughing so hard about nothing, by the way. This joke is terrible. But you're laughing so hard and you feel suddenly so good, like something has just been alleviated.
Right.
Like for just that 1-2 minutes, you are you again.
Right.
For just those 1-2 minutes. And then next thing you know, you're like, okay, I've had a good laugh. I've alleviated all this. I'm going through this really, really terrible time, but I am now feeling a bit more recharged and refreshed. I can actually now keep going. And when you're in that state, because when you're not drowning in the state of anxiety or grief or whatever that is, you are able to have a clearer mind to really discern, okay, this is what's actually happening. How do I actually want to proceed from here?
And a lot of doctors at this point, if you have anxieties and things of that nature, depressed, they throw pills at you. How do you feel that? I know you're probably a person who believes in natural cures, curing your own mind, meditating, cleaning the negative feelings out. Andrea, how do you feel about that? You think the doctors are over medicating us and with these types of feelings?
Well, a few months ago, a friend of mine from Denmark told me that kids as young as 5 years old are on antidepressants.
Mm.
And I don't know what it's like in America. I figure it must be somewhat similar. Maybe the kids are a bit older before doctors are prescribing antidepressants. I feel that, look, medicine, there is a place for it. I feel that medication and energy healing and energy work, I feel like they should be complementary as opposed to replacing one with the other. For children, children are such beautiful bubbles of light. They
Yeah.
naturally are. Even when they're in terrible circumstances, they're just beautiful bubbles of light. There is that wonder, that creativity, that optimism that gets lost after a while when they reach adulthood or become a teenager, or maybe even earlier now based on social media. I feel that it's just a matter of providing them with time
Mhm.
and patience and love,
Right.
which I guess nowadays in this current world with everyone being so strapped for time and money, and being so limited in capacity, it's hard to provide that to children.
Right. And the
So
US, they claim we work more than anybody. We put in more hours. We get less vacation time, and which could be true. But I've been to other countries too, that everything is moving so fast. Take the Philippines. Everything is crowded and everything moves so fast, and it takes a while to get where you're going. But I had a really good time in December and January seeing my step grandkids. They're so cute, and I got two more now, and they're so cute and like
congratulations.
and what happens is you do put yourself into those kids, and you feel good about being around kids. They do spread joy to you, and that's
Yes.
a great thing. I know you just mentioned that, and uh, following our joy naturally raises our vibrations. Now, in the ET world, extraterrestrial world, my vibrations were
Yes.
raised several times in some of my
Yes.
experiences. My vibrations were raised so high, I was able to put my arm through my steel door, and they were following in behind me. Yes, this is when I had a lucid dream, and I had
Yeah.
there was two entities behind me walking me to my front door. They wanted me to walk through it, and I said, "No, I can't. I'll hurt my head." So I stuck my arm through it, and it was burning. It was really burning, and I thought, "Wow, is anybody seeing this?" And then I stepped up, and I was gone. But I talked to scientists, and they said that lucid dreams are real dreams. I don't know how you ever get into dreams and the difference between a regular dream, lucid dream, and of course nightmares. What do you think about those dreams, Andrea?
Um, in this particular aspect, I don't think I can give much comment because I know we say that we are always dreaming, like at night, even if we don't see anything. And I am in that category of people who, when I sleep, I'm out. Like
Really?
I see nothing. And the only time I dream is when I'm like, it's because I'm stressed about something, because I have an exam the next day or a job interview the next day or something like that. And that's the only time I dream. And during those dreams, I don't really, it's very whatever kind of dream.
Right.
and I forget it almost immediately. So I don't really have a lot of experience with lucid dreaming. The only point that I could potentially give, and I'm still trying to figure out what this is, was a few days ago, I had this really quite terrible dream about that involved, you know, that involved sexual assault, of a young girl. And but by a group of rich men. And I don't know why I had that dream, because I wasn't stressed about anything. It came out of the blue, but it was so vivid
Mhm.
that I had wondered if it was some sort of premonition, or somehow I had accidentally accessed a parallel life of mine, or someone else's life. so but I haven't dreamt since then, and my night's sleep have been great since then. But that morning when I woke up to this girl shivering and writhing in pain, it was really disturbing, I have to say. And I don't know who that girl is. I don't know if it was a metaphor for a previous life I have, or a metaphor for me transitioning into something and preparing me for something. I don't know how to read it.
Yeah, I
So
get
in
it.
that,
I have those lucid dreams, and I, about ETs and things. I haven't had any lately, but I do have this paranormal stuff that goes on. But I wrote a book about that, and a couple of books about, an angel coming to the foot of my bed twice and
that's
seven.
amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know what that means. She's about 5'7", had a white robe on with a veil over the face, so I couldn't see her face. And I woke up
Yeah,
because I felt the energy, and there she was standing at the foot of my bed, and
yeah.
she turned and walked away really slow, and I followed her, and she disappeared. That happened twice, in 1971 and in 1998. So yeah,
Wow.
it's in a book.
Do you know what angel it was?
No, I don't. That's why I keep asking, "Oh, who is that? What's going on? So I don't know. Andrea, I think those are the type that wasn't a dream. I was awake. I was conscious. I woke up. So some
Yeah.
of these things I woke up and I actually saw, but
Mm.
the lucid dreams and the vibrations, from what I see from vibrations, when I speed up my vibration, I shake, and you get the shaking. This type of vibration I think is different than what you're talking about. But this vibration, actually, that's what ETs use. They raise their vibration to walk through walls. So if you raise your
Mm.
vibrations, your molecules in your body are going to spread out
It's
even further,
speed.
and you're going to be able to
Yeah.
walk through walls. So yeah, and it's
Ah.
speeding up things. So that vibration, when you start laughing, you don't want to have that vibration, and you disappear. You
Yeah.
teleport yourself right through the ceiling. But no, that's the type of vibration I'm talking about. What you're talking about, I know, I feel that too, and the elation and the exhilaration I got when I was playing music on stage. That's
It's
another.
otherworldly.
Yeah, it is. You're on stage, you got
Yes.
about 1,500 people out there dancing, and it's really loud on stage. But you're just exhilarated so much. At the end, you get
Yes.
done playing, you are exhausted. And then you go home, you lay in bed, you can't sleep because your adrenaline's up, and
Yes.
the amplifiers are roaring in your head like Bob Seger's. So yeah, music is great though. Like you said, it is great.
Mm.
And getting one's vibration up, how can one, let me ask you this question, how can one get their vibrations up? Is it just thinking good things or doing things that you love to do, or is it all of the above, Andrea?
I would say it's all of the above. So for me, the way I manifest or shift realities is through followers to follow our joy. That's I think we've covered that already. But what people don't really realize is that all of us have subconscious programming and subconscious beliefs that might prevent us
Mm.
from following our joy.
Right.
And so, because we have not been, we've been taught to, that in order to be happy, we need to maybe earn the right to be happy. We have to be worthy of being happy. In order to find love, we have to be worthy of it. We have to look a particular way. Now, all of these things about having to earn our way into accessing that joy. But the thing is that that joy, you can access it right away, and you can follow that joy and see where it actually leads you. But then when you are doing that, right? When you're doing that, you're going to hit a snag. You're going to hit a point where it's like, oh, who am I to do this?
Mhm.
Who am I to go spend 9 hours rock climbing when I really should be working and making money for our kids? And you could be very well making money and earning for your kids very comfortably already. But there's this belief that you're not enough ultimately. And when you're able to shift that belief, when you're able to approach the world of going from the perspective of, I am enough. And I can just be in the full expression of I am. And I trust that the universe that is my sugar daddy is going to send me money when I need it. And because of that, you're going to take all the chances. You're going to start seeing opportunities drop onto your lap. And it's a matter of, do you actually want to take it or not? For example, when I was building a digital nomad coaching business. This was like mid 2021, and it tanked, completely tanked. But obviously, I mean, how can I teach someone how to be a digital nomad in the middle of a pandemic when I was also in the process of building up my own business? It was ridiculous, right? But I was so burnt out. My vibration was just so low until one day I decided, you know what? I surrender. I am going to rest because I deserve it. Because I'm the kind of person, I'm pretty type A. So I drive very hard and I drive at the speed of a freight train. But the problem with driving very hard at the speed of a freight train is that you miss all the clues, you miss all the breadcrumbs. And so at that point, when I decided, you know what, I'm going to surrender, I don't care anymore. I'm going to rest because I freaking deserve it. Literally 3 weeks later, I opened LinkedIn. I got a message from someone who is a director of a coaching institute in Brisbane, and he offered me a job. I literally exchanged 2 comments with him on one of my posts. That was all I did, and I worked with him for the coming year.
Mm.
That's what happens when you raise your vibration. It's all the things that are a vibrational match to your frequency, it's going to come your way, but you have to choose it first.
Yeah.
You have to unravel what are the beliefs that are keeping you operating in that same way. And it's only when you unravel that, when you release it, when you shift it, that you allow your vibration to naturally rise.
Mhm.
And that's when everything starts coming to you.
I loved it when you said the universe is your sugar daddy.
Oh, the universe is my sugar daddy. It is the sexiest experience
There you go. You go, girl. Yeah. But no, it's that is because I've heard it before. You manifest and you ask the universe, and of course that's the creator and the source. That's
ever.
also got us. It's in all of us. We don't have to
Yes.
go somewhere and have a preacher tell us that we got Jesus in us. No, we got God in us, and it's he's or he she whoever is in all of us, and it's the universe,
Yes.
and he's the big sugar daddy. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you talk about vibration, then we magnetize everything that a vibrational match to us. So you're saying this magnetic energy, is that what they
Yes.
call attraction, positive attraction, or what do they call that, Andrea?
I think they call it like law of attraction. But
Attract.
I feel like I feel like general law of attraction is very basic. There is so much more to it.
Right.
But I mean overall, yes, yes. The more we are vibrating, the more we are vibrating at a high level, well, when I say high level, I mean that the more we are embodying the vibration of our soul.
Mhm.
That's what I mean. Then all the things that are meant for us will come to us. And it's a matter of whether are you ready to surrender and trust that what is coming your way is actually good for you, even if you don't fully understand what that is. And are you willing to take that leap of faith and go for it?
Yeah.
Because that is going to be what is going to lead you down to where you're meant to go.
And shifting timelines. How does one do that, Andrea?
I do it via meditation, actually. So Isha actually took us on this meditation where we're in our heart space and we visualize a series of timelines. And then we go one by one to each timeline, and one of them is going to be the one that resonates with us the most. And then we stop at that timeline, and then we look and see what's there. And is there anything that we want to change in that timeline? Anything that we want to tweak? And so then that's how I kind of like anchored in my particular timeline. But shifting timelines, to me, it's similar to shifting frequencies. You know, like a radio, you can dial into, let's say, radio 101.6, which plays country music, which I hate, or you could dial into radio 206.9, which plays the terrible EDM music, which unfortunately I like. So,
You
so
like
it's about
you like
dialing.
that music, huh?
I do like that music. Most of it is actually really good, actually, for me, just a personal preference. So it's about dialing in to which frequency you want to access. And if you are dialed in for long enough, then your timeline shifts.
Okay. Attitude, changing attitude. Is that basically what the underlying thing is about? Uh,
You change your attitude, change your mindset, change the thoughts, change the beliefs. So, for example, when I quit law, for the second and final time, I didn't know what exactly it is that I wanted to do, by the way. I didn't know about energy healing. At the time that I quit law, I didn't even know what mindset is. Those coaches, transformational coaches, life coaches. I don't know what that is. I thought coaches was sports like soccer,
right,
basketball.
right.
And so to go from that to where I am now as an energy healer at that, so this process took 2.5 years. To me, that's magic. To
Yeah,
me, that's insane because I didn't know about this work. I didn't know anything and because I didn't know about the existence of these things, this was just not part of my world. How can I research something that I know nothing about?
yeah. Wow.
Right? I like the way theta healing found me was someone that I hired to help me find my star family. She actually offered theta healing services, and what I experienced was so transformative that I signed up to become a theta healer for the rest of the year, all the courses, so that I can get certified. And I didn't know what theta healing is. How do you look for something that you've never heard or know literally nothing about? And so now to do the energy work that I do, it to me it's vibration. It every time I worked on myself, something new will come to me, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to go for it with zero attachment to the outcome, and trust that when I'm going through that process, the process of following my joy, following what made me curious at the time, is going to lead me to another path. And then I'll work on something, do a bit more inner work there, and then pivot, and then do a bit more inner work there, and then another opportunity drops by, and bit by bit, through this seemingly winding road that is actually the most straightforward path. Here I am talking to you, and
Right,
being able to have this conversation, which 2 years ago I would have been like, "What are you talking about?"
right.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. That like me. I didn't start writing books till 2.5 years ago. I never thought I'd be
Mm,
a book writer. Matter of fact, in college, I had a real mean professor one time. She told me, she says, I took some pictures and I did a report, an oral report, and my pictures, she liked my pictures. They were like combat.
yeah.
And she says, "You're a better photographer than you are a writer." So, wow. And everybody in her class was dropping out. They didn't like her because she was mean. But
Oh, okay.
I didn't let that bother me. I just, I didn't write, but I started writing 2.5 years ago. And so never say never. And you're never too old
Yes.
to start changing character or attitude. Uh,
Yes.
you mentioned here now, this high vibration allows you to access your multidimensional selves. Now we're getting into the territory that I usually talk about.
Yes.
And could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I think prior to getting into this work, I thought that, we're humans, we're born, and then we die, and then, we either go to heaven or hell. Because I grew up in a very religious Christian family. What I didn't realize was there was such a thing as past lives, different versions of ourselves existing in different dimensions and different realities. I didn't realize that there was this thing called a higher self. I didn't realize there was this thing called I knew that there was this thing called angels, but I didn't realize that we could access them. I thought they were just like outside beings that decide to grace us with their presence when we're in deep prayer or something like that. I didn't realize there was such thing as spirit animals. And I didn't realize that there was just an entire universe of us's
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
And
And that's what I mean by multidimensional self.
okay, now you said heaven and hell. A lot of scientists and a lot of, I guess, archaeological people who study things and the Bible and biblical historians, some are
Yeah.
saying there is no hell, that there is no hell. We just go to different dimensions. We go to first, second, or third level. The first level, if you go there, then you're reincarnated. You go through all this again
Mm.
here on earth. And the second
Mm.
level, you'll have a choice. That means you're carrying spiritual currency with you. I call it spiritual currency. And what you've done kindness for people, you've been nice to people, you've loved, you've forgiven, and you've been kind. Those are the secret words that Jesus left with us.
Yes.
And I think he was a great prophet and teacher, and he was trying to tell us
Mhm.
something. And so if you live by that, if you live by forgiveness, kindness, and love, then you're going to reach higher dimensions or higher, you
Mhm.
have more spiritual currency when you go across and
Yeah.
you pay the doorkeeper or whoever, Peter, they call that. But what now you said you did mention heaven and hell. Do you believe there's a heaven? Are those dimensions in which they're talking about, in which that's what I think, Andrew, those are dimensions.
For me, we could say heaven and hell is a dimension, but for me, I could also say that heaven and hell exist simultaneously now. It depends on how you perceive to be in a state of heaven and how you perceive to be in a state of hell. If I am constantly in a state of lack, scarcity, I feel that everyone in the world has abandoned me and everyone in the world hates me, that is my personal hell, is it
Yeah,
not?
yeah. There's hell.
Right?
They call it hell on earth.
Hell, yeah, yeah, hell now,
Yeah,
currently.
yeah,
And but at the same time, if I go on the healing journey and I find my soul tribe, I find this sacred work that I find this beautiful work of energy healing that I consider to be part of my sacred calling. I hop on here to speak to, a podcaster like yourself, having the most beautiful, insightful conversation. I have, a partner, I have loving family. That's and everything is a beautiful everything in my life is a beautiful thing that warms and melts my heart at the same time. And is that not heaven
right. Yeah,
at the same time, right?
right. And you mentioned here spirit guides. Let's talk about that. And also, you mentioned star
Mhm.
family. I want to talk to you about
Mhm.
that. You mentioned it. I don't know if that was a Freudian
Yes,
slip or what, but Andrea, could you tell us
I
about
did mention
star
it.
family thing that you're what you're thinking is?
So my idea of star family is that, so I'll start with a particular vision that I had when I was sitting in meditation sometime end of last year. I had this vision where I looked um I looked up and there was all these golden stars just falling over me, falling behind me. And when I looked back, it fell onto planet Earth. And just as so many millions and billions of stars were falling onto planet Earth, millions and billions were also leaving planet Earth. And that was when I first understood that we are all just probably little mini star seeds or beings of light that were just falling on Earth to come to have a particular human experience. And when we're done, we leave and we can decide to reincarnate in a different dimension, different reality, or a different planet, or to come back to Earth again. And so prior to this, I had already been searching for star family because I was part of a community and they were talking about energy work and star family. This is Isha's community. And and she talked about how she had star family, and I didn't know what that was. Through following my curiosity and an intuitive nudge at that point in time, I thought I want to find out. So I hired a trance channeler, and she told me she channeled the Arcturians from the Arcturus constellation, and so we had like a bit of a conversation, and I knew that I was part Arcturian, but I also knew that I was part Syrian because I'm born in July, and I know that, and I've always wanted to go to Egypt, and I remembered in one of my meditations, there was this beautiful Arcturian being. She took me up to the 12th dimension, and she said, "You've been searching for a home, right? Well, this is your home." And I knew that to be Sirius, the
Mhm.
Sirius star constellation. And I also love being in the water, and
What
I
do these
love marine life. So all of these things combined, yeah.
what do these entities look like? Were they mermaids or whatever, water creatures or whatever, Andrea?
The ones in Sirius, at the time that I saw it, all I saw was just yellow waves.
Yeah.
All I saw was just like yellow waves. But whenever during I've only connected with those with the angelic dolphins and whales probably only once or twice before, and they were just, yeah, just beautiful, majestic looking animals, and their vibration was, it was so pure. It was just love. It was just love. It was peaceful. It was wonderful. I don't think I don't think I have the words to even explain what is felt, Dave.
Yeah, I know the events that I've been through, I've had a spiritual feeling. I mean, it's like energy going from my head to my toes, and it's such a good warm feeling of energy.
Yes.
I don't want it to go away, it just and it just takes me all the way.
Yes.
It goes down and then sometimes comes up, and then it'll just sometimes hit me in the chest, and I lay there and I'm awake when I feel it, and it's just like a
Yes.
circular thing, energy that's hitting me.
Yes.
And of course, I don't
I'm
know if
feeling it now.
you're feeling it now. Yeah,
I'm feeling it now.
yeah, I've done that to people I've been with. I have this energy and I'll say, "Did you feel that too?" Or, they say, "Yeah, I felt a vibration or something going up down my body." So the vibration does travel with you if you like
Yes.
me, I've been electrocuted a couple of times by these ETs when I was abducted. So maybe all that energy, that electricity that it passes on. But no, you're talking about the star seeds, and I think I know who my star seeds might be. I think the tall whites, the maybe the Palladians, because I just finished the book and I got it at the publisher now.
Yeah.
It's a relationship between a Palladian princess and a male, a human male, and he's Native American Indian, and of course he's long haired, he's handsome, and the sci-fi book. It's a story, it's a love story,
Yes.
and the book is called "We Were Supposed to Meet." And so that's,
Oof.
it's travel through time.
Yes.
The Palladian, or they live longer than we do. So she knew this guy way before he was born, and she knew that the
Mm.
timeline. So that's part of the book. I'm giving it away, but it should hopefully be done by the publisher in about a month.
It
And
sounds like a beautiful book, to be
yeah,
honest. It sounds like a book that I could go to sleep, like, reading before I go to sleep kind of thing.
there's a lot of war in it though. They're battling the underground reptilians and the evil.
Okay, so I'll read it during lunchtime then.
Yeah. And I did all the illustrations myself, an old guy, with AI, and I just turned loose and I don't have a real picture. Should have printed that out and showed you the cover of it, but uh, I had my other publisher. I just sent it to him. He doesn't do sci-fi, so he looked at the cover and he said, "That's beautiful." Said, "You did that?" And I said, "Yeah, Alex, you think I'm stupid?" I am, I am stupid when it comes to technology. I think he knows that. How in the heck did you do this? An ET come in and help you? Yeah, really. But no, you play around with this AI and actually it'll work for you. It'll do things for you. Illustrations,
Yes.
especially when you're doing sci-fi, you're
Mm.
doing a real book. You want real pictures and things of that nature. But you work now, you take care of these high powered business people, Andrea, and you spiritually heal them. Is that what you're doing with the people now?
Well, yes, I'm in the process. I've realized that most of the people that have come to me, they are in the process of feeling quite jaded at work and they're looking for purpose. And so what I do is I help them identify what exactly it is that brings them joy. Where exactly it is that do they feel that they want to go at this present moment? Because obviously that's probably going to change. And then, along the way, if they're looking for their higher purpose and sacred calling, right? So then it's just a matter of working with them to see what are the beliefs or what are the emotional snags, as I like to call it, that they come across as and when they're in the process of following what makes them happy.
Yeah. I I
Yeah.
would imagine if you take the character that you've had on the show tonight, the personality and the high vibration and the humor and the sense of joy, that probably helps them right there. Just being with a person with that higher frequency and the joy, it kind of spreads. It's osmosis. So
Yes.
that, is that
Thank
what you
you.
is that what you're thinking that you do, Andrea? That you spread this joy and this vibration through osmosis when you get around people?
I do. I actually genuinely do. In saying that, though, when I'm working one on one, I understand that not, depending on where the client is at that point in time, they're probably not ready for this level of joyous osmosis. And so it's a matter of entering their world and seeing where exactly it is that they're at. The beauty about having been a lawyer for 6 years is that you wear multiple hats and you interchange them all at the same time. Therapist, friend, lawyer. And
Right.
so, therapist because you have to listen to where they're at. And
Mhm.
then after that, it's about being, being a lawyer is just, okay, where this is where the problem is, let's go address that. And then finally, you want to leave your office feeling, you want them to leave your office or leave your call feeling good, with a smile.
Right.
And so that is when I bring the joy in after they've had their own realizations of, oh, wait, hang on, this is it. I didn't even think about that. It's like, oh, Andy, like I feel so good now that I've released it. Thank you so much. And then it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I got
Yes.
that sense from you. I feel, a sense of joy from actually the last three people I've interviewed and yourself that teach
Mm-hmm.
this manifestation and doing meditation and relaxing and trying to get the negativity out of you and the spiritual healing. I think that's what everybody needs. And that's why I was anticipating having you and other people that teach this and do this. I think it helps people. Maybe they won't be so rude to me sometimes if I if they don't. They're not really rude to me too much. I think what it is, I'm saying things that might piss some people off, and we're not talking about the average audience. We're talking other. I don't want to say.
Mm,
Don't want to say,
mm.
but that happens, and so you just have to be careful with all that and watch. Just be kind, loving, and I guess whatever to everybody.
And
And try to be that way.
that is all you have. That is all you have to do. And a lot of times, just being kind, loving, and being the embodiment of of your essence, of who you want to be, in terms of in terms of the kind of person that you feel joy being, that is going to trigger a lot of people even then, because with you being who you are and you being the full expression of who you are, that is going to shine light to those areas of where these people feel, wait, hang on, why can't I be happy for him? In what areas am I not being in the full expression of my soul? In what areas am I being negative or not being joyful? And
Right.
so that trigger, even though it seems bad, it's actually a service
Yeah.
if you are doing it in the form that you are doing, which is just being your happy self, your happy, loving self, doing what makes you happy. And you're not hurting anyone, you know?
No, and that's why I don't want to
You,
quit. I almost thought about quitting, but I was getting some pressure from not
no.
from the audience, not like I said, not from the audience.
Yeah, from higher ups.
Getting pressure from that, and I thought, well, maybe I just better back away. And they said, no, Dave. And I, my prayers at night is I want to keep doing enlightening work and bringing people like you
Yes.
to the forefront to talk to people and to help them work out their own, peace and love and joy. And God knows we need more of that, right now in
We do.
particular. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes it gets me down thinking about, you have family members, that might be sick. You have friends that might be sick. You have a world that's really in turmoil, and all these little rings around you are pressure points.
Mm.
They all push in, and how do you relieve it? You have to be not selfish, but you got to take care of. It's just like being on an airplane. If you got a child with you in the seat and you have a problem on an airplane, you put your mask on first for oxygen so you
Absolutely.
can help the person next to you. So it's kind of
Yes.
like take care of yourself, be peaceful and be joyous, and that way you can spread that osmosisly to other people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
let's close up by why don't you tell us a little bit about what you think people can do now to help get to that point of joy and peace? Uh, your last words and last opinion and thoughts, Andrea.
Well, if I fully believe, which I do, and I know, that joy and passion and excitement is the way that our soul communicates with us, then I would say the first thing you need to do is to find a way to access that joy so that you can then access your soul and you can listen to your soul. And that can look like going out in nature, go away from the hustle bustle, from the gossip of your friends, or whatever rubbish it is that's being shown on TV. Go and sit on the grass, go for a hike, go horseback riding, go and pat your dog, look into their eyes or something like that, and just allow yourself to just be still with that contentment,
Right.
with that peace, and just start with that. And after that, look, I'm a huge advocate for meditating because I feel like meditating allows us to create distance between our racing thoughts and who we actually are. So for me, right after you get that, find a way to meditate, even if it's just 5 minutes. Take
Yeah.
a guided meditation
Right.
or something like that, and then allow yourself, when you are in that space, things are going to start happening within you. Your vibration is going to shift. And it's just about developing that awareness, developing that heightened intuition, and allow yourself to go with it. And there is no right or wrong way. If there is a way that has not ended well, what is the wisdom in that?
Yeah.
It's showing you something. By contrast,
Right.
nothing
Yeah.
is. Everything is always working out in your favor. It's about how you are perceiving it.
Right.
Yes, and that would be my last words. Follow your joy, follow
Yeah.
your soul.
Well, I'm glad you said hike because when I was younger and the older people, would get mad at me or something, they say, take a hike. And now I might say, take a hike. Oh yeah, I will. I think that's a good idea.
Yes, thank you. I
Yeah.
will.
But yeah. Now, Andrea, you work, of course, with these other people, these business people and everything, and you have andreafung.com, www, and then you're on Instagram and on Facebook, and I will put that in the narrative of how they can reach you
Thank you.
and let them reach you, and you can do some counseling if people call and talk to you, or if they're sending you emails or messages. Yeah, I guess you do that also. You can talk back and forth
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
people are looking for a cure for peace and love and joy, so they're all doing that. I want to thank you, Andrea Fung, for being on the show. And you're in Malaysia. What time is it in Malaysia right now?
It is now soon to be 10:30
In the morning?
a.m.
Yeah,
in the morning.
it's 9:30 here in Illinois
Mhm.
in the U.S. So I want to thank you, Andrea Young, and also I want to say that it's been very rewarding talking to you, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy the uplifting conversation and the joy and peace that you bring. And when you talk about it, uh, Andrea Fong, thank you so much. You've been listening to Dave Emmons on a strange reality show. And thanks everybody on Facebook for taking views and taking time to take views of the shows. We appreciate it. I thank you very much. Good night. Good night, Andrea. Bye bye.
Thank you, Dave. Good night.